Dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na hanggang ngayon ay nakadetine pa rin sa The Hague, Netherlands, dapat nga bang kaawaan? Sa gitna ng pagdadrama ng pamilya Duterte para makakuha ng simpatya sa taong bayan, kokonti na lang ang napapaniwala nila. Mula sa unang asawang si Elizabeth Zimmerman, kay Pulong Duterte at kay Sara Duterte, heartbreaking po ang kanilang mga mensahe. Pero sapat na ba yun kanilang pagpapaawa para maawa ang sambayan ng Pilipino? Maulan na araw po sa inyong lahat and welcome back to my channel. Meron po akong gustong basahin sa inyong isang artikulo na sinulat ni Professor Antonio Contreras. Ang title ng kanyang article sa The Manila Times, Pity Not Duterte, but Those Who Died Without Due Process. Pero para sa pamilyang Duterte, dapat po tayong maawa kay dating Pangulo. Ito ang sinabi ng kanyang dating asawa na si Elizabeth Zimmerman. Duterte off his meds, down to skin and bones. More than 100 days in detention in The Hague, former President Rodrigo Duterte has become so thin, skin and bones, unlike in the picture. Sabi po yan ng kanyang dating asawang si Elizabeth Zimmerman. I asked him about the food and he said it was still the same. At least he said he is no longer taking any meds. At least that's okay. He is healthy but he is an old man. He walks slowly. Sabi pa ni Zimmerman sa isang video recording. Sabi pa niya, Duterte spends much of his time watching television and sleeping. Well, sabi naman ng kanyang dating asawa, butot balat pero healthy. Ibig sabihin, malusog. Ayon naman kay Davao City Representative-elect Paulo Pulong Duterte, hindi na umano threat ang kanyang ama na si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa pagkapangulo. President Duterte is already weak and old. His only dream right now is to return to his country and be with his family. He is no longer a threat to the presidency as he is already legally barred from doing so. Well, talagang hindi na po siya threat sa presidency kasi hindi naman na siya pwedeng tumakbo muli sa pagka-presidente. Sabi pa ni Pulong, sadly, the very country that he served cannot accept him back because of its leaders who now disown him. Pero nakakalungkot nga daw, yung bansang kanyang sinilbihan ay ayaw na sa kanya. Bakit kaya? At sabi naman ni Vice President Sara Duterte, he is 80 years old. He is not in good health. He has not been eating well. He needs support from familiar people and he needs the care of his family and loved ones. So, sino kaya ang nagsasabi ng totoo? Yung dating asawa, sabi malusog. Sabi ng anak, he is not in good health. Apila pa ni Sara sa ICC. Digong, bigyan din ng human rights. Dito pa lang medyo mapapangiti ka na eh. Ngayon, sila ang humihingi na bigyan ng human rights ang kanyang ama. Nanawagan si Vice President Sara Duterte sa ICC na pauwiin na sa Pilipinas si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Giit niya, dapat ibigay rin sa dating Pangulo ang sinasabing human rights. Sila yung nagsasabi, lahat may human rights. So dapat ibigay rin nila yung human rights ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na ibalik sa Pilipinas at i-check ng ating mga lokal na korte kung karapat-dapat ba na siya ay ipadala dito sa The Hague. Hindi po dapat ipikit ng korte ang kanilang mga mata na sila ay walang jurisdiction sa kaso. Pero kahit na balubaluktutin pa ni Sara ang nangyaring pagkahuli sa kanyang ama, wala pong mali sa ginawa ng gobyerno. At wala na po kay President Bongbong Marcos ang power na ibalik dito si Rodrigo Duterte. Yan po ay nasa ICC na. Pero siyempre, kinukuha po ng pamilya Duterte ang simpatya ng taong bayan na I am sure kukunti na lang, yung mga DDS na lang ang maniniwala. Tulad dito, bigyan din daw ng human rights si former President Digong, talking of someone na nagsabing, I don't care about human rights. Yan po ang isa sa mga statement ni former President. Wala siyang pakialam sa human rights. Tapos ngayon, hihingi kayo na bigyan din ng human rights si Digong. Ironic, di ba? So, dapat nga bang kaawaan itong si former President Rodrigo Duterte? Sabi ni Antonio Contreras, pity not Duterte, but those who died without due process. Basahin ko po yung kanyang sinulat. It is easy to feel sympathy for former President Rodrigo Duterte. His family has revealed his deteriorating condition. We are told he struggles to walk, that he has lost a significant amount of weight, and that his health is in visible decline. Reports portray him as a frail elder statesman, weathered and worn. The image being crafted is one of vulnerability and impending mortality. And yet, every time I find myself even momentarily tempted to pity the man, I am confronted by a single photograph. The image, captured by photojournalist Rafi Lerma for the Philippine Daily Inquirer, shows a woman, Jeneline Olaires, cradling the lifeless body of her partner, Michael Ciaron. He had just been shot. His body displayed awkwardly on the pavement. A cardboard sign labeling him a drug pusher crudely placed upon him. No evidence, no trial, no presumption of innocence, just execution. The photograph, published in July 2016, became an emblem of the Duterte administration's war on illegal drugs. For some, it was propaganda fodder, proof that the then president meant business. For others, it was a moral jolt, a visual indictment of a policy that turned the justice system inside out. What ties Duterte and Ciaron together is not just that they are both figures in a tragic national narrative, but that they have both been accused of crimes. Ciaron, like thousands of others, was allegedly involved in illegal drugs. No arrest warrant was served, no evidence presented, no conviction handed down. Duterte, on the other hand, stands accused of crimes against humanity before the International Criminal Court for allegedly orchestrating and enabling a campaign of extrajudicial killings that left tens of thousands dead. And here lies the great irony. Duterte, the man whose policies denied thousands the right to due process, is now granted every procedural safeguard. He is presumed innocent. He has access to legal counsel. He is given time to prepare his defense. He is protected by the very principles of international law that he once derided and dismissed. Ciaron had none of this. Neither did Kian de los Santos, Carl Arnaiz, Reynaldo Colot de Guzman, or the countless others, some nameless, some faceless, who were gunned down in dark alleyways, on sidewalks, in front of weeping families. Their deaths did not merit courtrooms. Their guilt was determined by hearsay, tip-offs, and arbitrary lists. Their executioners were emboldened by Duterte's imprimatur. Supporters of Duterte often argue that the drug war was necessary, that it restored order and saved lives. But the moral cost of such logic is devastating. When you normalize summary executions, you erode the fundamental pillars of any just society: the rule of law, the presumption of innocence, and the inalienable dignity of every human being. You cannot kill your way to peace, and you cannot suspend justice for some without eventually threatening justice for all. We must not forget that the drug war was not simply a matter of policy. It was a performance of power. Duterte's rhetoric, laced with expletives and open threats, was not accidental. It was calculated to desensitize the public, to create enemies out of the poor, and to manufacture consent for lethal force. He goaded the police to shoot them dead and boasted of throwing drug suspects from helicopters. He blurred the lines between crime and governance, between punishment and vengeance. Now, in his twilight years, Duterte seeks refuge in legal protections he once scoffed at, and many, including political allies, now appeal for compassion, asking the public to consider his failing health, to let bygones be bygones. There are calls not to pursue accountability out of respect for his age and condition. But age and illness do not erase history. They do not undo trauma. They do not negate responsibility. Compassion may temper out anger, but it must not blind us to the demand for justice. It is important to say this, not out of spite, but out of principle. The impulse to humanize the aging strongman is understandable, but it must be balanced by the memory of those who never had the chance to grow old, who were denied even the slimmest opportunity to explain themselves or to change. Justice cannot be selective. Accountability must transcend political convenience and personal sympathy. Let us be clear. This is not a call for vengeance. The ICC process will be methodical, evidence-based, and bound by international standards. Duterte, like any other accused, will have the opportunity to contest the charges. That is more than can be said for the thousands who were buried without autopsies or allegedly died of cardiac arrest but with bullet wounds on their heads, and whose families still search for answers. The image of Olaires cradling Ciaron remains the emotional and ethical anchor of this entire discourse. It encapsulates the horror, the grief, and the unresolved injustice of the drug war. It is not merely a photograph. It is a moral document. And it serves as a warning that a nation that forgets the victims in favor of the powerful betrays its conscience. So no, we should not pity Duterte. We recognize his humanity, but we cannot elevate his suffering over the suffering he caused. We acknowledge his frailty, but we cannot let it obscure the broken bodies and broken families left in the wake of his presidency. Let him have his day in court. Let the process be fair, impartial, and transparent. That is his right. But let us not be lulled into forgetting the victims or be distracted by narratives of decline and disease. Justice, if it is to mean anything, must be consistent. And it must be remembered that the true test of a nation's moral fiber is not how it treats its fallen aging rulers who are still alive, but how it renders justice to those who suffered wrongful deaths. The past cannot be undone, but accountability is how we ensure that it does not repeat itself. Matapos po nating basahin ang artikulo ni Antonio Contreras, kayo po, dapat bang kaawaan si former President Rodrigo Duterte dahil siya ay matanda na, mahina na, at may sakit? Comment lang po down below. And I will see you in my next video. Diyos ti Agnina.